So without further ado, you're going to learn from a beautiful woman by the name of LuAn Mitchell. She took her company from 0 to 500 million. She is the owner of Mitchell Gourmet Foods. So without further ado, I want you to welcome the one, the only, the beautiful LuAn Mitchell.
Thank you. What an honor and a privilege to be here with everyone. So grateful, and I thank you for that kind introduction. It means the whole world. And looking back on it, certainly I've had a lot of life lessons, and some of them have been corporate, some of them have been personal. But one of my biggest life lessons has been to go gut. And what do I mean by go gut? First of all, everyone who's online with us, on side with us, present with us today, you had to go gut. You had to take that step to say, you know what, this is something that's going to be powerfully good in my life, and I'm going to apply the principles, and I'm going to learn from these individuals. It's like a biography of sorts, but it's a living biography. It's not just a book. It's something extremely good. So I thank you for having me, and thank you, Arthur. You're like an amazing soul, one of God's great angels out there doing great works for so many, and I'm always honored and privileged to be a part of the magic. So today we're going to focus on one element of that go gut, and I had to do a lot of investigation in my life to really look at what was going wrong, not focus on what was going wrong. Now there's a difference. I had to look at what was going wrong, and one of the things that was going wrong in my industry when I came into leadership was the fact that people didn't look at me and really see a strong leader. This blonde girl who'd been in pageants and didn't see a leader of a male-dominated industry, didn't see me as someone going into the food industry. And in our particular case, we also did some meat packing, and we had a stronghold. Now, that wasn't the only part of the business, but that was one part. And so as you can appreciate, there's a lot of agricultural background. Now, I'm a girl, I like to dress, sometimes I wear my sweater and such, and my blue jeans or overalls, and go in as well to a facility where I can be working alongside others who are, in a lab coat type get-up and working with hands-on, meat cutting or food processing, whatever it's called for us. So you have to understand that whatever it is that you're choosing as your industry, you might in fact have to adapt. But none of us are just cut from one fabric. We have a lot. We have a lot going for us, but we have to get comfortable in our own skin. Be comfortable enough to say, what am I going to be required to do? And is that something that I feel I can do? That I can take to the world, and I can take my gifts to the world through doing. So branding, this was a very, very important part of our industry. I'll take you back to the bare bones beginnings of our industry. It was started by a man. This is his photograph. This man started the company in 1940. And this man had escaped Nazi Germany. And this man barely spoke a word of English. And he ran away to New York City. And in New York City, he wanted to rebuild, but he had lost his entire fortune that he had made in Europe. Everything was taken from him, and he was lucky to get away with his life. But he knew agriculture, he knew food, and he decided that he wanted to start over again in North America. Well, it was a pretty tough time in those days, so what he did is he thought the best way he could do it is send food back to the soldiers. And by being in North America, beginning a food company, but making most of their sales, in effect sending food back to the soldiers, he would then be able to actually make a business through his own escape from the ravages of war. So this is what he did. Now, in his religious beliefs, there was some food product that was, not appropriate for their religion and such. And so what he did is he surrendered his his stiff beliefs, and he said, I want to be a person who puts God first for all people. Not just me and what I believe, but for all people. And so he started a business where actually one of the foods, which was pork, actually went against his religious belief. And so that, to me, I really admire this founder. Is an amazing man. His name was Fred Mendel, and that's his picture. 52 years old, New York City. Barely spoke a word of English and had a very bad heart. So that being said, I look now, whatever industry I'm looking at, and I look at the pioneering of that industry. I look at different individuals who started different companies in different capacities, and not just in my industry, but in other industries. And I was asked to go to your beautiful state and actually speak to a group called Furman's Tomatoes. And when I spoke to them, I met another man. His name is Foster Furman. Now, these men are not even on the planet anymore. But Foster Furman is an amazing guy, and as it says, at age 11, Foster Furman carried wood into the kitchen to can the first 360 glass jars of tomatoes on a cook stove. And the annual pack today for this company is over 200 million cans. So, as the founders, if you're the founder, I want you to pay close attention to this. You're going to be reading your legacy. So who founded this company? If you're starting a new business, think of yourself in terms of the future people who are going to be working at that company, or where you're going to be taking the world, and the people go back to look at your legacy. They're going to be showing your picture, and they're going to be saying, this is what you did, this is what you had to overcome. So it says that, Foster was active in legislative affairs and state and national level, and he received Special Achievement Award from Commerce, and he received the Alumni Award of the Year for outstanding service to the alumni, to the church, and to the community. And he received the Life Achievement Award from the Philadelphia College. So I like to think that the stuff we're made of is the stuff that others are going to want to tap. They're going to want to be a part of. So I really encourage you to think very carefully why it is you're doing whatever it is you're doing, where you're going to be going with where it is you're going to be going, and the legacy that you are leaving for other generations, for those people who are going to be reading back about you. So I never ever met Mr. Mendel, who was the founder of the company, but many years later, our company, which I was not a part of yet, went into soft receivership. There was a family feud within this family, and the family got very, I say, topsy-turvy, very upset with each other, and lawsuits began. Okay, so one sued the other, and at the end of the day, the company went bankrupt. Okay? Completely bankrupt. Now, I'm not a member, I wasn't a member of this, but as it turns out, some years later, the company was purchased. It was purchased really for a song. It was already in soft receivership. And when the company was purchased, the problems that happened were these. The company now had to have someone who could do a turnaround on its ill fortunes. And so, although it had been really positioned to do excellent products, it had really been positioned to do some beautiful new things for really the world with food products, nobody didn't really see the light of day when they looked at this company, because they were like, well, this place is no end of problems. So again, remember, I went back in the beginning to go gut. Go gut. So the first thing that the gut instinct of those people at that time was how do we just sell whatever equipment's in here, shut this place down, pay all of the creditors, get this off our back, and try to go into the next phase of life, because this place is hopeless. Well, then along came some, circumstances that presented the opportunity on my plate for this alien company. Now, I came into the leadership with this company after their corporate president died. They were already in trouble.